on my microphone. Today, we begin the fast of Nativity. It's a little known fast. Not little known, but it's not that well known. And it is not as broadly observed as, say, the fast of Great Lent or the 15 days of August. Nonetheless, it is a major fasting period in our ecclesiastical year, and in my view, I think it's one of the most useful. The most useful in our American 21st century context. Today, we also hear the gospel reading of the Good Samaritan. The Christmas fast and the gospel reading of the Good Samaritan have something in common. And here's what it is. They instruct us to go against the flow. They instruct us to resist the pressures of the world. And they instruct us, as I've liked saying time and time again lately, to be light in darkness, to be salt of the earth. See, Christians aren't supposed to be like everybody else. What does the word holy mean? Aios Dimitrios, right? Aya Anna. What does the word holy mean? It means to be set apart, to be dedicated for a purpose. On the day of your baptism, you were set apart for God. On the day of your baptism, you were set to the purpose of His gospel. So as Christians, we can't just go with the flow. We have to go with the gospel. And Jesus told us, we all read the Bible, we know Jesus told us, He said, the world hated me and the world will hate you. Which means that if we're going to follow Jesus' words, we're going to meet some resistance. And we have to be ready for it. So why do I say the Christmas fast is one of the most important, one of the most useful fasts? Maybe the most useful fast. Because the Christmas season has been disfigured by business interests, and it's been turned into the holiday season. And really, it's just been turned into the shopping season, the me season, right? And it's so funny. I have children. Some of you have children. We know that it's at this time of year that our children's materialistic appetites get shifted into overdrive. I need this phone. I can't believe I don't have that, this and that. And as parents and as adults, we went through that as kids too, and our materialistic needs or wants, our materialistic desires also get shifted into overdrive right on what is the day of the year? Black Thursday or Black Friday. Thursday's Thanksgiving. Black Friday. We have even named a day for the darkness of materialism, and it's like a national holiday. I mean, did we lose our minds? Did we lose our minds? And the fast of Christmas is an amazing counterbalance to the glut of the holiday season. The fast might be our best opportunity as Orthodox Christians, in a non-triumphalistic, in a non-judgmental way, to reclaim the season as the season of Nativity. Because that's why God gave us the fast in the first place, as a counterbalance to our appetites, as a counterbalance to our physical needs, as a counterbalance to our inclination for materialism. That's why God gave us the fast, to soften our hearts to His will and to create a moat around our hearts from the will of the world. Right? To instill in us love for him and love for one another rather than egocentric love for self. That's why the church gave us the fast. And it's so perfect that at this moment in the year where year after year after year after year after year, we hear a chorus of I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine, the church gives us a fasting period to pull us out of our selfishness so that we can hear a chorus of Hark the Herald Angels Sing. Right? And at the bottom of all of this, we listen to the gospel reading of the Good Samaritan. The priest walks by. The guy's bleeding. He can't go do his church services if he helps this guy, because that would, if he comes into contact with his blood. So the priest goes with the way of the world. I can't possibly help this person. You know, the next guy, the Levite, comes by, same situation. Who's the one that comes by and helps? A Samaritan, a heretic, someone who worships in the wrong church and someone who believes the wrong stuff. That's who helps him. It's not somebody doing metanias and keeping the fast. That's not who this person is. It's not some super pious yaya. It's some heretic, somebody from some other denomination that we wouldn't even identify with. And that's the person who God ordains to do his work. That's the one. What is God telling us? He's not only telling us that in the fast we need to have compassion for the injured and compassion for the vulnerable and compassion for those who have been wronged. He's also telling us, don't judge the sinner. Don't judge the heretic. Don't send condemnation to the people on the other side of the aisle. And we are in a national moment when we have stoked so much hatred from the left to the right and from the right to the left. We're at a moment where we have convinced ourselves that the best thing for our country is to demonize the guy who thinks another way might be better. That's where we're at as a country right now. We cannot buy into that as Christians. That is not the gospel message of the Good Samaritan. The gospel message of the Good Samaritan is that it might be the guy who's dead wrong that God is going to use as his instrument. And so be careful. And so be careful. Yes, we stand for what's right. Yes, we're entitled to our opinions. But when we look at someone with whom we disagree, when we look at someone who we know is even wrong, when we look at someone who is a sinner, we have to first look at them as brother or sister. We have to first look at them as son or daughter of God. We have to first look at them as God asks us to look at the Samaritan in this parable. No matter who it is, and no matter what they believe, and no matter what wrong they've done, our sacred obligation as Christians who emulate the Good Samaritan is to see that person first as person, created in the image and likeness of God, as was I, as were you. We have to love in all things. We have to love in all circumstances. That is the call of the gospel. That is the call of the Good Samaritan. That's what he's calling us to. And as we approach the Christmas season, we see that Jesus took on flesh. He condescended to be with people who were way beneath them in order to show them God's love. He gave up everything and was born into poverty and sickness and sin to reclaim us, his children. And he expects that from us. He expects that that's how we'll treat each other. That's what he's calling us to. And the fast allows us to say, oh, you know what? The values of the world, my material appetites, the values of the world, the sound bites of my particular political persuasion, the values of the world, whatever those values might be, that's not my first set of values. My first set of values are the values of the gospel. And insofar as I can make the values of the world, or the values of my party, or the values of my education, or the values of my profession, the values of my ambitions, insofar as I can make those compatible with the values of the gospel, I can embrace them. But insofar as they are incompatible with the gospel is my first set of values. The gospel is my anchor. The gospel is my counterbalance to the rest of the world. And that's what the fast reminds us of. So as Christmas comes, some people start fasting today. Other people, they start after Thanksgiving, or they start after St. Spiridon. We have special compensation in the Christmas fast. For Thanksgiving, we eat the turkey. We celebrate the national holiday. I don't care when you start. I'm starting today. You start whenever, whatever. But what I want us to do is I want us to embrace the purpose, embrace the meaning, embrace the mission of the fast, to be light in darkness, to be different than the world, to be source of love, of positivity, of forgiveness, of reconciliation. That's Christ's gospel, and that's what we have to be for in the world. I thank you for your attention. I pray that God continues to bless and keep each and every one.